Offer a particular welcome to those who are here for the first time, maybe after many months. You're most welcome back. And of course, welcome to those who are watching and praying through the live stream, whether you've up a little earlier and you're watching us live now, or whether you catch up with us a little later in the day. Love is the one thing that cannot hurt your neighbor. That's why it's the answer to every one of the commandments. And dear friends, that beautiful line from the second reading is the wonderful context for some news that I share with you, news I know that is already widespread. For during the last few weeks, Bishop Allen has asked me if I would serve as your parish priest. And I said yes, of course. And he announced it this week. So today, I'm very pleased to begin. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. These are such unusual times. In this parish, as we continue to remember Father Tom, in the world, as the pandemic continues. So the first thing I'd like to do as your parish priest is to assure you of my prayers and to ask for your prayers. Could we just pray for each other for a moment, please? I look forward to meeting you, to celebrating sacraments with you, to sharing the joys of your lives, to listening, really listening to your ideas for the parish, and to walking with you wherever you need accompaniment as best I can. I will always pray for you. Between now and Christmas, I'll be a little bit between here and Walsingham House. After Christmas, there'll be some new senior staff in youth ministry and in Caritas. So then I'll have a much less hands-on set of responsibilities there, and I'll be able to more fully move in here, and we'll see how we go. We'll just take it all very gently and enjoy the adventure. For this is a beautiful parish. I've seen the heart of the parish as you gathered in your hundreds for Father Tom along Park End Road. Today it's more or less exactly 3 years, actually, since I started helping out by supplying here at weekends. So in some ways I already know you and you know me, and we've been on quite a journey already in these years. And yet in other ways we don't really know each other at all, because I've always been a guest and I'm not yet immersed in the community. So today I thought I'd introduce myself to you, as if for the first time, and I'll start with something that I know you won't believe. I barely believe it myself. I was born on the 6th of September, 1970. That's right, today I am 27 years old. Well, what's 50 anyway? Apart from being a very tiny number, I can now go on a saga holiday, get over 50s life insurance. So Bishop Allen wanted to find a fabulous 50th birthday gift, and here you are. So let's fast forward a bit. After school and university, I worked for Unilever for a year. They make all sorts of things, PG Tips tea, Bachelor's cup of soup, Lynx deodorant. It was an amazing time, but I also felt called in a different direction. So then I worked for 2 years on the Walsingham House team, running retreats for young people in the diocese. And when I was 26, I started seminary. I loved traveling. Between university and Unilever, I traveled for a year. I was on a mission in Kenya for 2 months. I traveled most of India and Nepal, including swimming inadvertently with some water snakes, cycling around the base of Mount Everest, and meeting Mother Teresa in Calcutta. Since then, I've snorkeled in the glacial lakes of Iceland, bungee jumped in New Zealand. I've been tear-gassed in Hong Kong, painted a peace mural with young people in Palestine, and taken young people to World Youth Days in Rome, Sydney, Cologne, Krakow, Madrid, and Panama. I've been to Lourdes rather more often than Our Lady. I stood watching the sunrise on Mount Sinai. I love being immersed in the wonders of God's creation. I've been surrounded by penguins in the Falkland Islands and by little clownfish in the Cayman Islands. This very week, Pope Francis began the season of creation from now right through to the feast of St. Francis of Assisi on the 4th of October. And he said, we are squeezing the world like an orange. He's right. Creation is so fragile, so utterly precious. Your gardens around the grounds here are already so green, and I look forward them to being even more a feature of our parish life, full of bees and butterflies. My very patient parents are retired. My mum was a special needs teacher, my dad a primary school teacher, then a university lecturer. My brother's in the army, in the Royal Signals. My sister's an educational psychologist. I've got a wonderful nephew, Ethan, who's 13, and a fabulous niece, Rosie, who's 11. They can both reprogram my phone, and last week Rosie set up the family WhatsApp group, This is the Future. I was ordained a priest nearly 18 years ago, on the 14th of September 2002, in Hutton, just next to Brentwood, where I'd spent most of my young years. And over these last 18 years, it's been a wonderful adventure. What sustains me in my faith is those words from the second reading. Love is the one thing that cannot hurt your neighbor. That's why it's the answer to every one of the commandments. There's a radical joy to love. When I consider the person of Jesus Christ, I'm constantly reminded that he loved without exclusion. I do find any kind of walls and barriers difficult. Sometimes people don't want to walk through the doors of our church because they fear judgment, and that devastates me. Everyone is welcome here in the loving arms of our loving God. I served as parish priest in Basildon for nearly 9 years, wonderful years. For 14 months of that time, we took aid to the refugees in Calais. At Walsingham House, we've just spent the last 5 months running the house as a safe house for women fleeing domestic abuse during lockdown. Single parents, refugees, the homeless, everyone, all ethnicities, everyone should feel totally welcome here. In a particular way, the LGBT community have often felt walls around churches. Let's do all that we can to really open the doors of the church wide and to everyone. We have wonderful sacraments to share, glorious gifts of the Holy Spirit. We have the profound truth that life is to be cherished from the moment of conception to the moment of natural death. We have amazing possibilities and horizons to offer our young people, immense kindness to bring to families and to those of all generations. And it's all rooted in Jesus Christ, fully God and fully human, who loves us infinitely and eternally. This is our church. What else should you know about me? I cannot dance. I enjoy films, the theatre, reading. I'm tetchy in the mornings. Better, honestly, that I only have the Lord and Kay Burley for company before 9 o'clock in the morning. 2 coffees in, and I can have a decent conversation. I think that's partly why I enjoy working with teenagers and students. They don't ask too much before midday, usually. But they have such creativity and energy. It's wonderful to walk with them and to see them shine in leadership and in service. Let me finish with a little confession. You may remember Father Dominic 5,000 at 50, when in January I said I would cycle 5,000 kilometers before I was 50. Well, that was January. How long ago that seems. So far I have cycled 1,250 kilometers, which isn't really what I set out to do. COVID wiped me out for a bit in March. It's fair to say that lockdown was not a sleepy walk in the park. And in any case, I feel that most of us think we need a refund on 2020, so perhaps I'm still 49. Anyway, from today, I shall be cycling 10 kilometers each day, and by pottering along like that, I'll get to 5,000 kilometers just before I turn 51, or 28. This time next year, I'll let you know how it's going. Love is the one thing that cannot hurt your neighbor. That's why it's the answer to every one of the commandments. In these days, as schools and colleges and universities return, as people begin apprenticeships and are so anxious about the present and the future, to encounter everyone with the love of Christ is to live the mercy and the joy and the hope of the gospel. As Jesus says in today's gospel, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I shall be there with them. Here he is then, in our church now, and on the live stream, and in our families, and in our town, and wherever we welcome him. Let's do that today and every day. Let's enjoy the next few months, years of adventure together. Love is the answer to every one of the commandments.